So with that, we're going to turn a little bit of a different page. And what I'm going to say is, of course, we've said it many times, but every CEO is different. Every role is different. Every person is different. The sizes of the companies are different. The life stages of the company are different. So there's no one CEO, good CEO profile. But just for a moment, I'm going to pretend that we have the archetype, the embodiment, the representative of CEO energy in front of us. And I'd like each one of us just to give, if there's one invitation, one piece of advice, one suggestion that you have for this CEO archetype. So I'm going to ask Mazen just to kind of kick us off. So in front of you, you have the archetype, the representative of all CEOs. It's an average, a merging of all CEOs possible. What is one message that you have for CEOs?
To be in tune with oneself and to be in tune with the environment. So not to go on a conditioned pattern of behavior because in the past it has worked, a coping mechanism, and really open the ears, the mind, the heart to understand, feel, be a full-fledged human. Use emotions, use the creative thinking, use the critical thinking, but not stick to one. Don't be only a visionary. Don't be only a pioneer. Don't be only, I want to develop small things. Don't be only a builder. Be all of them at once. So, and I will end up with that. Create this ability within you to be autonomous yet interdependent so you can rely on the outer environment while still relying on yourself.
And I feel called to share a piece of research that's quite interesting, which backs up everything you just said, of course, which is when we look at experienced CEOs who become a CEO a second time, a third time, versus CEOs that are there for the first time. So they just got promoted and they're the CEO for the very first time. Surprisingly, first time CEOs outperform second time or third time CEOs. And what the research has found is that when you're a CEO the first time, you have to adapt to what is. There's no playbook. You have no clue what you're doing. And so you have to figure out what works in this given situation. And they tend to have, I think, on average, 8 years of tenure as a new CEO. When you come in a second time or a third time, many CEOs, what they end up doing is they want to repeat what they did the first time. They said, this is what I did the first time. This is what works. I'm going to do it again. But by that time, the situation has completely changed. Most of them are coming into different companies altogether. So it's a different environment altogether. But even in cases where a CEO returns to the same company, the situation has changed. It's you never step in the same river twice. And so their tenures are much shorter. I think it's like 3 years, 4 years or something. And they tend to actually underperform new CEOs. So for boards, investors out there thinking about appointing a CEO, take a chance on a new CEO because they might surprise you by being as human as Mazen just mentioned. Krisana, in front of you, you have the archetype, the representative for all CEOs. What's one message you'd like to share with them?
What I would like to share with them, as they probably already know, very good leaders have healthy daily habits and lifestyle. They take care of themselves. So you can read in magazines about the lifestyles of leaders who have found the balance. And so I would say get your house, the saying, get your house in order first. So when you're outside, you lead from that. So if you're not in order and have healthy habits and healthy lifestyle approaches, meditation, mindfulness, healthy eating, balance, there is no way that you can be functioning or a situational leader or a strategic leader. So awareness, self-awareness, inner awareness, and this will shine through in the environment you're in.
For me, and this is, I guess, a bit of a segue because we have 2 more episodes in this series coming up. In my experience, what I've found is that when you go to a CEO and you say you're doing a bad job, or you need to work on this, you need to work on that, there's very little receptivity. When you say, hey, there's some things that you can do for your organization or your people, so really like we can help the company as a whole, they tend to be way more receptive and way more like, oh yeah, I want to make sure the organization's working well. So within those parameters, my just invitation to anyone listening who is in an executive position is, the world is changing and changing very fast. And what worked yesterday doesn't work today and will probably not work tomorrow. And it's okay to not know. It's okay to not have had this experience before. It's okay to admit that the pace of change and complexity and volatility is unprecedented, and that you are not expected to have all the answers and to be the one to save everyone. That it's okay to admit that I have certain strengths, but I might need some support. And of course, I'm biased because that's what I do for a living, is support. But I really see it. It's a need for each one of us as humans, as inner leaders of ourselves, to find that ability to reach out to someone else. It doesn't have to be reaching out to me, Krisana, Mazen. Just reach out to someone else and let them know that you're looking for a little bit of support, because I think it'll go a pretty long way.